Okay, this is Craig Ford. I'm the mayor of Gadsden. This is Meet the Staff. I wanted to tell you this is Ruth Moffatt, who's on the mayor's staff, and she just got through asking what questions we're going to ask her, and I said I'm not going to expose it. So, Ruth, we just get right into this, and we want the people to get to know you and a little bit about who you are and your family, real laid back, because we're so excited to have you. I'm a football guy, and we talk about 5-star recruits, 4-star, 3-star, and I feel like you're a 5-star recruit. So we're so glad to have you. And you've educated me a lot and brought a lot to the table. Not only I made a commitment I wanted to do this to hire a position of diversity and inclusion, and you were the chair of United Way, and I thought, well, I'm going to go get her. So I basically just kind of prayed about it and went after you, and you said yes, and you have been a breath of fresh air. But tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from and why you took the job.
Ooh, now that's like an hour long.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it.
So I originally moved here from Union City, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I were both at Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and I was close to retiring, which I did in 2013. I retired from Goodyear. 7 children.
Wow.
14 grandbabies with 2 on the way. So pretty soon, 16 grandbabies.
And one granddaughter that I love.
Yes, that's Eliza Grace. And grew up in a middle-class family. I was real stubborn, real hard-headed. So I took the tough road, and some of those things were lessons that kind of, lead to where I am today. So.
And what was your last job that you had?
So my last job was executive director of United Way of Etowah County. Mm-hmm.
And I heard you speak the other day at the pastoral conference or luncheon that we had, and man, you brought the house down. It was amazing to hear a little bit more about your past and about why you're here and what you're doing. But tell us a little bit about your job in the mayor's office about diversity and inclusion.
So I'm real excited about that because diversity, a lot of times when we think about diversity, we only dive into one area, but diversity is very broad. And for us, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so for us, we're hanging it on 4 pillars. So that's demographics, that's culture, and both of those are pretty much self-explanatory. Functional diversity is that special needs population or individuals that may not have that access that you and I have. And making sure that they do have equitable access to resources that they need.
For example, yesterday we did the trolley routes and met with some of the special needs about trying to get to and from in Gadsden.
Right.
And that was your lane.
Right.
Yeah.
So you always have to have that arm in government that's looking at those individuals that might not have that equitable access. So you think about that senior citizen, like we've talked a lot about, who maybe their income is only $1,000 a month, if that much, and they have to pay $4 a day to go get a hot meal.
That's right.
And so, when we can create avenues for those individuals to be able to get a hot meal or go to a doctor's appointment, or even just to be able to go to Nakalula Falls or go to First Friday, those things are important too, because we get an opportunity to enjoy our community.
That's right.
Because you have a vehicle, I have a vehicle. But for those individuals, maybe they can't drive, or maybe for whatever reason, maybe there's a reason why they can't drive outside of age. So having a part of government that's really looking at that and creating that equitable opportunity, it really gives what our chamber talks about, and that's that belonging.
That's right.
I want to belong. I want to feel like I'm heard in the community and like someone cares. So that functional diversity, it is a huge bucket.
That's right.
And so that's something that we're doing, and our DEI task force is looking at that, and even looking at other things that maybe we need to have our eye on. And then, of course, cognitive diversity. Now, we get in a whole lot of trouble with this one because we, in our personal space, we like to be with people who think like we think and see things like we see things. But in business, that's a no-no. You need people who don't think like you think. If you're ever going to understand the argument of your opponent, you have to have other people in the room who think differently. And so I coined this, or maybe I don't think I heard it somewhere. Maybe I did, but I've been saying it for a long time. I think that you'll never conquer what you won't confront. So you have to be willing to be in the room with people who think differently.
That's right. Yeah. So you can see why we went after Ruth. Yeah. And your husband, David, also retired from Goodyear.
He did.
And,
he did.
So that's fantastic. But not only is Ruth over diversity and inclusion, Ruth also has a lot of nonprofits, which there are a lot of nonprofits in
There are.
Gadsden. And can you speak on a few of those? Or
So some of my ideas with nonprofits. So when we think about dollars that come to our area, and I'll just use a real simplistic example. If we're doing, say, a need like utility assistance, and we have, let's say, we have 3 nonprofits. We have more, but I'm just keeping it simplistic. And if those 3 nonprofits are spending $25,000 a year assisting with utility assistance, is that a duplication of services? Who are we missing? What does that really need to look like, overall? And so being able to look at our nonprofits holistically and the services that are provided, we can then look at what services are we missing.
That's right.
So if we have, $30,000 a year that we're paying in utility assistance, or the nonprofits are paying in utility assistance, again, is that a duplication? And if it is, how can we help give that person a hand up to where now they're not having to duplicate that service, but now they conquer that and they're able to move on to something else? Because I believe at the core, everyone wants to be self-sufficient.
That's right.
I just believe that. And then that allows us to extend our tentacles in areas that maybe we don't have resources for.
That's right.
So it's important to have, to be able to look at the community, look at the resources that are needed, and to figure out how we can provide those resources even through our nonprofits.
So Ruth talks about utilities and diversity, but also yesterday she was meeting with the Ritz Theater about doors and curtains and everything.
Yes.
So Ruth has kind of been thrown a lot, but to me on the staff, I mean, we got a lot of diverse in our staff.
We do.
But I will tell the people this: if anybody sees more, if I see more like anybody on the staff, it's more like you, Ruth. I think I kind of align with you more than a lot of the philosophy, which is good, because we love to have different opinions. But that's why I love having Ruth Moffatt on board and her family, and most of her family's from Nashville and
Tennessee.
and so to keep her here is a big accomplishment, and I know it's a sacrifice to you. So we want to make sure your family is welcome here anytime, and you can
belong.
You are off at any time you want, because we want to make you happy here. But we expect big things, and I know you're going to deliver big things, and
absolutely,
and we're looking forward to that. So if there's one thing about you we didn't know, what would it be? And I got one too.
I'm introverted.
Introverted?
I operate as an extrovert.
Ruth, you
yes. Well, a friend of mine said I'm an ambivert. I haven't looked that word up.
Ruth's got a big vocabulary. Yeah.
I haven't looked it up, but I'm actually introverted.
Really?
Because of that, I typically try to give myself about a 10 to 15 minute pause in between meetings.
Well, how about that?
Because I just need a moment just to recap, my thoughts, to breathe in, exhale.
I did not know that.
Yeah, most people don't know that about me.
So I did not know that. I'm glad you told me. So we went. So we broke for Thanksgiving, and we all came back. We had a mayor's staff
I know what you're about
meeting,
to say.
and I said, "So everybody have a good Thanksgiving." Ruth said, "I did." And I said, "What'd you do?" She said, "We danced all weekend." I said, "Where'd you dance?" She said, "We just danced in the condo we rented, or the home, with our whole family danced for 3 or 4 days." I thought, well, that'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So listen, we love to have you. And I'm gonna tell you something. We know it's good luck you're here, because when we were filming this, there was a ladybug on the window that rolled straight up. So ladybugs are good luck. And
yes.
But
so it is.
We're so happy to have you, and thank you
Happy
for this
to be
time.
here.
And Ruth, Gadsden is fortunate to have you, and I mean that sincerely.
Well, all thanks to you. For opening the door and giving that opportunity. That's one thing. That's something that we've talked about a little bit with the DEI. Is looking at our history from from a different lens.
Yes.
And so years ago, this opportunity may not have been possible. And so, by way of the fact that you open the door to that, it really speaks to the inclusivity, that's your heart,
Right.
And that's really important in a community. And so I appreciate the opportunity to serve, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve in Gadsden.
Well, this is
And
great.
it's going to be literally amazing.
It's
I
going to
have
be
more
great.
things in my head than my head can hold.
Well, that's right. You know we are. We're in fifth gear. But listen, this is a meet the staff conversation with
Yes.
Miss Ruth Moffatt. So thank you for your time.